Hey people, it's Monday, 9/11. Cheers. Yeah, I just went ahead and broke down. It's cool. It's cool. We will likely have more hot days, likely have lots more strange weather, but it's cool. And so I broke down and put on my favorite black sweater. It's still a little, wrinkled from pulling it out of the pile of shit in the closet. How y'all doing? I'm certain for some people this date 9/11 brings up all sorts of memories, feelings, PTSD, whatever. I don't know what to think. I remember the day. It was very surreal. I woke up and was preparing for work, and that was on the TV, and it's like jaw dropping. And then when I get to work, it's, the same there. Everyone is in shock. Only thing I can say about it is that I don't know what really happened. It doesn't matter what I believe. I can't prove shit. I just know that nothing has gotten better since then. Nothing has improved. If anything, it was a shot across the bow that said, "Okay, it's on now." Havoc, chaos, destruction is the name of the game, and here it is. Anyway, how you doing on this Monday? I got more packages of CDs going out. Um, a quick comment to respond if any of you folks see this who have been complimenting me and asking me about the bass sound and the bass rig in the RAF videos. Number one, thank you for noticing it. But many great players have said it, and it's the truth. Good equipment is nice, but that's not the key to a good sound. It's in your fingers. It's the truth. I'm an example of it. I get good bass sound. I can get a good bass sound without a bass amp. There are many famous musicians, particularly string players, who have demonstrated this time and time again. Jeff Beck picked up a guitar, anybody's guitar, it sounds like Jeff Beck. Excuse me. Vinnie Riley of Durutti Column, instantly recognizable sound. The tone comes from the fingers. Along those lines, I was just watching a couple of interviews with bassist Stu Ham. He's a phenomenal bass player, and I had and he was talking about it, and I had the opportunity of opening a show for Stu Ham's touring band in 2016. When I saw that Chemicals got the gig, I was excited because I was thinking I was going to meet Alex Skolnick, the guitarist mainly known in the band Testament. He's a great player, but also plays with Percy Jones these days. But Alex was out on tour with Testament or something, so they had the other guitar player. And at that time, I didn't know the guitar player's name. He was really good. Met him, hung out with Stu too. Stu noticed my bass playing and complimented me. But the guitar player for the show was Randy McSteen, who was just out on tour with Porcupine Tree. So I played a show with Randy McSteen, who's with Porcupine Tree. At least plays a touring version that just went out. But folks, thank you. That's where that tone is coming from. It's a combination, but it's here. This is the secret. This really is the secret, people. You can buy all the equipment you want. You can get all the pedals. I don't use pedals on bass. Very seldom in the past have I bothered. In Dreama I would use a fuzz pedal, but mostly I use no effects when I play bass. This is the secret. You other players know. Alan Holdsworth perfect example. When I hung out with him backstage, and he let me play his guitar, and then he was fiddling around with it as he was talking with my friends about beer. He didn't give a shit about talking about music. No amp, just sitting there doodling, and it's every bit the sound of Allan Holdsworth. So that's the secret. It's not a secret. It's what you need to understand. It's not good equipment is nice. Get this. I'll say it one more time. The secret is in the touch. I figured that out a long time ago. So is there any music to share with you? There sure is. I like the In Groove. Mike with the In Groove down in Phoenix. He's so mainstream. Jeez, to a fault almost. So I find him entertaining. And with his nerdy high-end talk, I find that entertaining. If I had all the money he has, would I spend it on the equipment that he has? Hell no. He was talking about the Doors and what's the best version of this album. Man has 40 different versions of this damned album. If you hear a little bit of disdain, it's just me being real and honest about how I feel about this. Now, this is a very poorly recorded album. It is. It just sounds like junk. And this is not a particular version. It's not even a gold. It's red, which he completely trashed. He said these are trash. But I wouldn't even be concerned with trying to find the best sounding copy of this, because the best sounding copy of this is going to sound like it's coming out of a transistor radio. But I enjoyed this. My favorite song on here has always been The Crystal Ship. I also remember as a child, Stephanie, if you watch this, remember when we went to the state radio station KOIL AM for the first time and took a tour, and at the end of the tour they asked us if we wanted some records, and they gave us these boxes of records. One of those promo singles was Break On Through by The Doors. Of course those records are long gone. But even before Light My Fire was out, I had Break On Through on a promo single by The Doors. I was a kid, so of course I didn't know, and no one knew. This is before anything happened. But I had one. I sure did. Okay. So, Homer's got in. I was after a clear vinyl version of the newly reissued Split by Lush, but I didn't get it. They didn't get it for me. This is black vinyl, which is just fine. So I got this yesterday. Love Lush, Mickey Bereni and Emma. And this is better than it's a better recorded. I don't know if the songs are better, but I sure like the way this is recorded. And they, to be so amateurish when they started, like a lot of punk or post-punk, could barely play. But it's strong ideas. Their very first EP, which I have still, parts of it are out of tune, but the charm and the originality of the song still comes through. So I'd be digging Lush. I bought one new album down there because I was looking to see. I got the Lush, so I took a look. Got one used, which I'll show, but I looked in the news all over the store looking, well, what do you got? What do you got? And I was happy to see that they got this. Irreversible Entanglements. Protect Your Light. This is with More Mother and some of the... I got the record. Can't think of the name of the band. In some ways, you could call this modern black classical music. It's definitely plugging into the spirit of jazz and blackness. And it's going to take me a few listens because it's underwhelming. My first response is, I'm glad this is happening, but this is underwhelming me. I will do this on purpose and compare it to another new record that I have. This slow dive is just, this is the shit. This is my ground zero. Even more than punk. Before punk, the thing that really tripped my trigger in music was beauty and melody, which is why the Beatles really appealed to me over the Stones as a kid. And pop music, good pop music. I love a good melody. Carole King was Queen when I was a boy. Don't have the Tapestry album anymore. I've had a few copies of it. That's a classic album. But to make a blatant comparison, just to kind of explain who I am, this is the sound I'm looking for. Slow dive. But I'm glad for this modern black classical music to be happening. I'm so happy to have discovered Moor Mother and where she's coming from. It's needed. But ain't hardly anybody listening, you know. A lot of times what it ends up being is like a person like her is preaching to the choir, because the people who really need to get the people who need to get the message ain't listening, don't give a shit. So the other album I bought out of the used section, I had to check because I've seen this in the past and kept thinking I have it, but no, I don't. I have the other one. The Quintet, VSOP. This is dynamite. You see the players. Ron Carter, it's really cool that Ron Carter, in a way, because we read from left to right in the U.S., it's like Herbie put the band together, but in many ways Ron Carter is the person who sets the tone and is the standard bearer. Ron Carter is a giant. So glad to get this. And yeah, these guys are amazing musicians. Of these people, I've met two of them. I've met Wayne Shorter and I've met Herbie Hancock. Man, I wish I could have seen Tony Williams play live. I was also pleasantly surprised. This is a white label promo. Some of us geeks like promos. And because of my early experience with promos as a kid, like I said, finding out that you could get free records from the radio stations, I love promos. That was like the first way I bulked up. That's how I originally really started the aspect of my collection where I have a lot of records. That's how it got started. So I played this this weekend. Blind Mr. Jones, both albums. I think these guys were teens when they made this music. It's a shoegazy sound, and this is a retrospective. I found this CD not when it came out, but I found it like for $1, and just took a chance on it because of the cover. Really like this. And this is a Grave Face reissue where one album is kind of clear with that smoky, and here's the red. Now, these guys are, when they make this stuff, they're really young and they're kids and obviously much older than me, and it's not for me, how do I explain my love for this music? I can't. To me, there's an aspect of me that feels eternal. And some of the music of youth, my youth, other people's youth, still speaks to me. But to me, some music of youth has staying power. I'll use Slow Dive again as a great example. They're playing songs now that are 30 years old. Neil Halstead said it in a recent interview because their record is selling well and they're getting publicity. He said it doesn't feel like he's playing songs that are 30 years old. They feel now. And that's the way they feel to me and sound to me. And so I've never had a problem with following whatever trips my trigger, whether the people are older or younger. I'm still drawn to youth, you know. I feel it inside. My body is aging, but my perspective is here and now, which is a continuation of being alive all this time. So I still relate to a sense of youth inside. Well, what's this week going to bring? Who knows? So let us as individuals try to bring something to the table that makes things all right, at least around us. If, you know what I'm trying to say? All we have is this moment. And so it just is so weird that we're so caught up in our minds that so many people are fighting and divided and squabbling about really just thoughts in our heads. When if you could get people to just calm all that noise and just bring it to the moment and just be in the moment and reassess yourself and everything around you from that perspective of here and now, that this moment is the most important thing. I know for me, it levels the playing field regarding worries, differences, opinions. The most important thing is being alive in this moment, and all of this static in our minds that we use to cause discord and problems. It's a choice, a rather poor one. So endeavor to have a good day. Make it a good one. Okay?